and the naked guy, I don't know, riding to your keep, and we are sieging you tomorrow. Do you have a time window? And then the guy on the walls is like, yeah, tomorrow between this o'clock and this o'clock, it's tea time. Yeah, we have time then.
You can't choose this time now. That's over the 24 hours. Yes, 100%.
This is so stupid. Why can't I build a priest in your keep?
Imagine medieval siege, a real siege in real life, and somebody's just building a house in your castle. What the fuck?
Would be funny. Short disclaimer. After this video, I will never ever talk about TC again until Star Wars fixes it. Or at least claims that they will fix it. Hello everyone and welcome to the Wolfside channel. Today with a very special topic, I mean, always special. I've talked with Noznam, the now new Koto leader, about the siege. There are 2 dedicated videos just for the territorial control problems, from my opinion and the opinion of the whole community. It's linked in the description. Because a lot of people have raised their voices and said, oh yeah, you have lost, of course you are complaining about a broken TC system. Yeah. Of course, you could argue like that if you have one brain cell. That's why Noznam and I talked together about the TC problems, because he was on the winning side and the Koto leader standpoint is very interesting. So yeah, I've cutted a lot of ads, amps and stuff that was not necessary. I've asked Noznam if this cutted version is okay for him. And I'm pretty sorry for the recording of my voice. Something went broke with the microphone, so it's sounding very awful. I'm sorry for this. And a short disclaimer, we as Wolfside Guild were hired for this siege, so we haven't lost anything. Besides our gear, of course, a contract and something like this. So seriously, we just don't give a shit about the siege, about the political landscape. We give a shit. We are complaining because the TC system is useless and broken.
So the first thing, initially, the shit show started when we tried to accept the sieges. I'm sure Odinseed had the same problem. When we tried to accept the sieges, we put in the hours. So for everybody that doesn't know how it works, we put in the hours that should add up to the timer. So usually you wait until the siege initially starts, the usual 24 hours, like a few minutes earlier. You add hours up to it. And as you can see in the clip, I added 14 hours and it said, okay, the siege will begin in 20 minutes. And I was like, I wanted it to be in 14 hours, not in 20 minutes. And I wrote a GM ticket and they asked me if I got some proof of it. If I can prove that I put in 14 hours.
Oh, holy shit.
And I don't know how your shadow play works, but my shadow play sometimes does work, sometimes does not work. Sometimes it's running in the background, sometimes it's not. So it's always a gamble. I'm pressing the Alt F10 key and I'm like, oh, holy shit, it worked. And I had it in both sieges. So Odinseed declared a siege and Undead Lords declared a siege. And the initial siege with Odinseed was in 20 minutes, like I said. And in the middle of the actual Odinseed siege, I was fighting left and right and Mangonels were firing and stuff. I had to accept the Undead Lords siege and had the same issue. I added hours to it and it said, yeah, okay, it will take place in 5 minutes. And I'm standing there in the middle of the battleground. Boulders flying, writing a GM ticket. I have the same issue like yesterday. And they asked me for proof again. And again, I was praying, please, Shadow Play, please work. Awesome. And not only me, all the other guilds had the same issue. I would think Odinseed had the issue as well.
Yeah, we had a lot of problems, and the main thing was the first gate, which caused a lot of problems, and the mechanic of the supply chains.
Yeah, as usual, when a huge force enters your node line, you can tell by your FPS. So whenever you guys came out of the keep to fight us back, because we were coming closer and closer and closer,
it was
you
a
could tell by
slideshow.
the FPS. Yeah, it was like, oh, they're coming. My FPS went to 15. And we always lost 10, 15 guys, because those are the guys that got freezes. I didn't get any freezes myself. I think that's very system related. I'm lucky to have a very good system now. I'm having a 4090 and a very good processor.
Oh yeah.
So I don't have freezes, but I have all the other issues, like magic not working. You're casting Elementalism, and at the moment where it should fire off, nothing happens.
It was so funny. There was an arrow directly in my head, and the damage was 10 seconds later.
We made it an official call. You had people in the comms like, magic doesn't work. Magic does work again. Magic doesn't work. We made it a call because it was just a thing you had to take into account.
Awesome.
We saw a big group passing by and we were like, okay, Ellie in 3, 2, 1. Magic doesn't work. And also the walls that did not disappear for you guys, they did disappear for us.
Okay.
And that resulted in people standing on invisible walls for us. For you guys, there was a wall. You could stand on it.
Yeah, for us, there was a wall. For some of us who relocked, there wasn't a wall, but we didn't knew that. So we knew that at the end of the siege that we need to relock, to remove the gate. But I mean, for Star World here, I don't know. Please test these things.
We had that one guy, I sent you an image, that was constantly running through the air. He was running in the sky and firing alley at us. And we were like, holy shit, what's that? How is he doing it? Yeah, he was on an invisible wall. We had the same thing just one day earlier. Went through all the keeps because we got a siege declare and you do the usual stuff like checking everything, getting everything prepared. And I had a wall in front of the door and I took that wall away. And some people couldn't enter because there was still a wall on that position. For me, there wasn't a wall. And when I went through the wall, they were like, wow, how do you do it? You're moving like a ghost. So it isn't a node line thing. I don't know what it is. But for some people, there are objectives. For some people, there are no objectives. We had things like, it was lagging so hard that people were trying to get their weapon out. And what you do when the button is not working is like you're a gamer, so you're spamming it. And after 15 seconds...
Everyone is spamming the button every time.
And after 15 seconds, the game is like, okay, now I'm doing what you did 15 minutes ago. And he's putting out and putting in and putting out and putting in and putting out and putting in the weapon. And you see people running around with the animation all the time. So it's an endless loop of animation you're pretty much captured in. It's an endless loop of lag. You got freezes. You got the usual FPS problems. Not working magic. People walking or seeing things that are there for some people. Not
I mean, it was a complete disaster. I mean, I talked with a lot of people after the siege, and nearly no one wants to siege in this game anything anymore.
It's so frustrating.
Anyone who participated in this siege don't want to siege anything anymore because firstly, it doesn't make sense to own something, and secondly, it's all bugged and broken.
And also, you bring your really good stuff to a siege. Doesn't matter if you...
I mean, we went there with Optimum Chrono, and I think you also looted something, but in the end, at the fight 8 or something, we killed all remaining and we left.
Imagine you lose your whole Ogmium set just because you got a 5-second freeze.
Oh man, I would be so mad. I think a few people lost their shit because a few were standing AFK on the battlefield, more or less because their PC crashed or I don't know. So yeah, I guess that a lot of people are very mad.
Also, if you look at the mechanics, I think a lot of things look good on paper. If you see things like what do you actually do when you're sieging, is you build up the Mangonel, you build up the siege tent, and you got someone that takes out the boulders and brings it to the Mangonel, and that does take away HP from the tent, so it does need to be repaired. So on paper, that's super good. It looks like a whole good system. But if you are the guy repairing the siege tent, I mean, imagine you do an advertisement video of a siege from the perspective of someone repairing the siege tent. Cling, cling, immersive gameplay.
I mean, we had the same discussion in the guild a lot of times when we were sieging something. We need one guy who's putting all the resources in, or at least two guys who are putting all the resources in the tent, and people who are building up the tent. And their gameplay loop was during the whole siege of 6 or 7 hours just building up this tent. What is this gameplay or what?
Building up,
this is not gameplay. I don't know.
Exactly, and so we took advantage.
In between, we also talked a little bit German, but this was more or less off-topic related.
Sieges, we know how it is. We took a lot of boulders out of your siege tent as well.
Yeah, we noticed that.
We know how it is. If you're building up the siege tent, you are either AFK or you're watching the other guys fight on the stream because someone is streaming the fight on Discord.
Yeah.
You want to be part of the big battle. You don't want to stare on the HP of the siege tent.
Yeah. And you guys spammed Elementalism all the time at that tent. And we, after 1 hour or something, we were so mad. Like, come on! Because you can't do much against that. But it's okay. But I personally think that when you come in with a force of this, how should I say it? When you're coming with a force of this, you should win, in my opinion. I don't know.
I mean, we did what we could. We got, for example, you didn't see a single ES on the battlefield because they were all inside. They were repairing. They were, of course, trying to supply stuff. And in the end, they made it. They repaired it 2 times. And you guys also got an issue. You destroyed it, but it doesn't disappear immediately. So the defense ticked up. And we didn't even know what to expect from the upticking. So is it there? Is it not there? So we were looking at the defense.
I mean, we already had a plan to get more ammunition and continue with the siege and stuff, but the timer was the problem, the 6-hour timer. So
yeah, on one hand, I'm like 6 hours. That's like a whole day. So you're constantly under pressure for 6 hours. It sounds a lot. Then on the other hand, if you see that you're like close to the target and you don't make it, it's frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, you must also see the other side. When you're a 6-hour defending, the attacker took, I don't know, 12 hours to prepare and be there. You know what I mean? It's
also the logistics. I mean, you didn't build anything nearby where a lot of people are building houses, putting everything in chests. You didn't build anything nearby.
Yeah, we built it directly into your keep.
Later when you were in, yes.
And this comes to another topic. I think that this shouldn't be possible.
Yes, 100%.
This is so stupid. Why can't I build a priest in your keep?
Imagine medieval siege, a real siege in real life, and somebody's just building a house in your castle. What the fuck?
It would be funny.
And you guys were standing there, and you could tell who got the materials because those were the guys with the gawas that were very nervous when you hit them. They were like, no, don't hit that gawa. So the pure logistic you have to do, the planning, not even talking about getting that amount of people together on the Discord.
The communication during the siege was also a complete. I mean, we had experience. It was not complete chaos or something like that, but it was a little bit difficult because you guys were in the main keep, then a few of you guys were on the walls all the time and reviving and priest camping stuff, reviving nakedly and stuff, and annoying all the other people, and then dismantled the siege slowly, more or less.
Yeah, and also if you add something new to the game like Elementalism, so many things changed that you could never think of. For example, you made advantage of that priest, you got on that priest, and with Elementalism you shoot someone over the walls of the keep and stuff like that. So there are keeps that got the environment. They got like a little mountain next to the keep and stuff. You can't get rid of that. That's the environment you got around that keep. And from that little mountain, you can shoot people into the keep. You couldn't do it before Elementalism, but now we got Elementalism. So you got so many things that Star Wars didn't think about when they put it in the game. Everything changes. Or for example, you got things that nobody uses ever. Whoever used a ballista? No
one uses the ballista. I mean, if you could, for example, place the ballista, for example, it's on your keep, and you can shoot down to our siege tent, would be completely okay for me when the rest of the TC would be balanced.
And that's the next thing. You can put the ballista on top, but you have to build the tent on the floor.
Yeah, this is so stupid. Why can't I have 100 shots of ballistas directly beside my ballista, which people in the medieval times did? I don't know.
So 50 people are running up, bringing the arrows from the ground, so you can constantly fire.
Yeah.
Who's using fire potents? I never saw someone using fire potents.
But it was so funny when we were building the tent outside and you guys were shooting boulders out of your keep, and we were like watching each other like, what the fuck is happening?
And we were trying. Someone stood outside and was like, a little bit more left, a little bit more right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. But someone said, I don't know if it was you in your video or if it was someone on the Discord, someone said, it feels like you're not fighting the enemy, you're fighting the mechanics of the game.
Yeah. And
that's exactly how the whole fight felt.
Yeah.
You're fighting lags, you're fighting issues like magic doesn't work, you're fighting gates not disappearing, appearing where they shouldn't be. It's a whole shit show. And if you bring a full Octium set,
and then on top the mechanics like, okay, Elementalism got added, and then they didn't rework how sieging works and stuff like this, and the whole thing is a problem because it demotivates players so hard. If you speak to nearly anyone who participated in the organization of that siege or in the preparation of that siege, not a lot of them will do this again ever until Star Wars change this stuff.
Yeah, you pretty much wasted your whole Halloween weekend, and you wasted a lot of materials, a lot of gold, a lot of effort. And we know everything in this game takes forever. Just riding from one side of the map to the other takes forever.
Yeah.
And getting so many people together to one point takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of communication. And if you're fighting not the enemy, but the game mechanics, it's getting really, really frustrating.
But how was it for you KotO guys? I mean, you guys were I guess, after the siege, very motivated that you won, or not?
So you were going through the worlds very quicker than we would think. We were watching Barados stream. It's not stream sniping at that point. We know where Barados is.
I mean, it's not stream sniping. I don't know who always claims that shit.
Yeah. And also, if you know the enemy force is in your backyard, you know where it is. So of course we were watching Barados stream, and when you first gate, it seemed that nothing is happening anymore because Barados didn't show the wall.
Yeah.
And we were fighting, and suddenly the second wall was down.
Yeah.
And we didn't see the progress.
Yeah, it was more or less accidentally. Someone said, Barados, don't show this, please.
Yes, and that was exactly what got us, because it was like, they went through. And at the point when you already were at the keep, at the actual keep, at the core, that was when it was really important to get back the supply. I always say supply storehouse, but I mean the supply camp, of course.
Yeah.
So that's what ES did in the end. They made it, and I think it was when there were 45 minutes left, when we were like, could be that time is running out. Then we were like a little bit more motivated. And like 10 minutes after, when there was only half an hour left, ES told us they got 92% defense. And then we knew it's over. Then we knew there's nothing.
And then everyone celebrated, or what? Or was it not?
I think we were just, everybody was so destroyed of this concept. I mean, we didn't know what you guys will attack, so we had to make sure every keep is ready, and we had plans for every keep, and we had plan B. What if they go for this keep and that keep? The funny thing is, we thought that you won't go for this keep because it's the obvious choice. Yeah. So you took the obvious choice.
I must say I was not involved into planning or anything. I mean, we as VZ guys, we was just there for other purposes, more or less, for mercenary purposes, more or less.
So we were not celebrating at all. We were more exhausted. After that, we were totally exhausted because everyone was facing the same issues. We even got lock-in issues. People were getting crashes. People were trying to get locked in.
I mean that the attacker have to prepare a lot of shit is normal. But you as a defender, you also have to prepare it. What keep they are sieging? You need equipment in every keep. You need the structures in every keep. You need the infrastructure in every keep. This is also effort. I see this. But the imbalance of the attacker and the defender is too high, in my personal opinion. I don't know what do you think about this?
I think it should be hard to siege keeps because keeps are a huge thing. You control a whole area. You control a castle, like you said. You have a kingdom and you control the whole area. But I think there should be a point where it's like possible. It shouldn't be impossible to siege a keep.
Because the second thought I had is like okay, you could always argue that this makes no sense to make it easier to siege, but the thing is, if you want to siege other keep, it's impossible for you. You can't siege anything. And
what I was thinking, for example, I had an idea. It doesn't feel good. I thought about this when you had all the Mangonels around the core. So it doesn't feel very immersive if you got a Mangonel 1 meter away from the wall and you're shooting with a boulder against that wall, right?
Someone commented that under a video who was not playing Mortal. He even wrote that he's not playing Mortal, and he said that this is insane. That was an older video, 1.5 years ago or something, from a siege where we placed also a Mangonel directly in front of the stronghold and something, and he was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah, it looks like shit. I mean, it wouldn't work in real life. The boulder would crash your Mangonel.
Yeah, of course.
what I was thinking was, what if you got a siege weapon that deals more damage than a Mangonel, but it only deals damage in melee range? So you build it directly on the wall, so that if you overwhelm the enemy so much that you make it to the wall and you control pretty much the wall, then the upside of this is you can build that melee thing and it does a ton of damage to the wall.
So I don't know. Have you played the first game, Noznam? I don't know you very well.
Not at all.
Not at all. Okay. Because in the first game we had the battery ram, and it was 6 people could use a battery ram. It costed 100 gold, I guess, and it took 2 stacks of wood and I don't know, a half a stack of steel or something, or any metal, and then you have a battery ram, and it was good enough to, I don't know, 1/3 of a small house or something like that. So I don't know. Maybe someone can bring in back a battery ram or something like that for the gates or something like that, or for the this is easier, you know.
In my head, I'm thinking of the big wolf head from Lord of the Rings when they were going from Minas Tirith.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
Slamming the door, stuff like this, and even make it. I don't know what kind of Ogmia engineering you need for this, but make it work on its own. So you don't need 3 people, one repairing a tent and one carrying the boulders. It's fine for Mangonels. You are firing from a distance, so there should be a downside for this. You're pretty much safe from a distance. But if you are able to get in melee range of something you want to siege, you are the dominating part. And you need to have something for it. So Star Wars is like, okay, if you make this, if you can hold this position, the upside for it is you get that super ultra strong melee siege thing that works on its own and does a lot more damage.
Yeah,
I mean, in that case, it would have also worked well for you. You guys could have put that thing right in front of the wall. It doesn't look like shit because you're firing with a Mangonel from 1 meter distance.
I mean, this is so strange when we're showing the footage of all these Mangonels directly at this house to anyone who's not playing even games or something like that. They would say, what the fuck is this?
And also, if it comes to placement, I mean, in the end, it's super ugly. You're just building Mangonels around the whole thing. So you have 20 Mangonels around the stronghold, the core, and you're constantly firing. It doesn't look very, very good. And if someone has the idea just to build culinariums around it, just 20 culinariums, I mean, what are we playing here? It's you see keeps, you see strongholds that are like protected by. I mean, we are not innocent by our own because we are protecting our assets as well with this. But using assets to protect assets from being reachable.
Yeah, I mean, we don't use this particular tactic, but we use we use a position tactic more or less. We have a very tactical position to not be sieged easily, and this is maybe also a factor.
I also think it's imbalance on some points. If you look at the first ES keep, I don't know what it's called. It's the one next to Miduli. What step is it? It's east. Is it eastern step? I don't know. It's like a total open field, and if you look at the Keep of Bad Company, it's in the middle of water.
It's so strange, and I don't know. These keeps are completely not equal. When you, for example, if you're owning a keep when you have a small circle and you have other keeps around with having a big circle, you're just fucked. I don't know. You just have bad luck. You just have a territory that is very small. Of course, you could fight with other people, but then you are just having a circle around your territory. How stupid is this? A half of the map is not under a territory. What the fuck?
And the tax you get from that keep. I mean, you have a keep, and the bigger your area is, the more buildings you need to protect that area.
Yeah.
So the tax doesn't make up for what you spend.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagined that by the big Koto circle, and I thought to myself, I don't know if that's even worth it. But now I can ask the question: is it even worth it?
It's not. It's not.
Shit.
So in total, we need to use our supply or let other people use our supply to generate more gold than we lose. If everybody would stop playing today, we would run out of gold because we are paying more than we actually get. And we are talking about the Miduli area. a lot of people are building their assets in the Meduli area.
Yeah,
a lot of blue guys.
That is exactly
You're not talking gold core.
And this is exactly the point what I meant with the end of the video I made with the keeps need purpose. Do you also think that your keep should maybe have more purpose?
Yes, especially because I would say that the Koto keep is the area where most of the, let's say, random blue guys are building their houses. So I would say that's one of the keeps that generate the most taxes.
Yeah, the most money of all. Yeah,
and we are still in big minus. So I wouldn't imagine, I mean, if you think about gold core or something, where nobody but the guild lives that owns the keep, then they're not making any taxes at all. We're getting all the blue people, all the new people. Everyone is advertising Fabernum or Meduli as a starter zone. So you either fuck up and
I
get
also
Fabernum.
advertising this because it makes more sense, in my opinion, for a new player to start there.
Yeah, and if the keep owners of the area where all the new people are says, oh, the tax income is not big enough, then it's not big enough for everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only upside you have for owning a keep is that you can build in the area. I can put a guard tower anywhere without a barracks. I don't know if it's a bug. Some people say it's a bug. I think it's my area. I don't have to claim territory because I'm in my keep territory.
Yeah, that makes sense. Would make sense.
It would make sense. Yeah,
it would make sense.
Often you don't know if it's a bug or if it's a feature.
Yeah. We ask us that question in the first game a lot of times.
Yeah, I only saw the first game. I didn't play it
myself. This was I don't know. Some of the TC mechanics were a little bit different, a little bit better in my opinion, and some of them were the worst shit ever seen. But
I see the point of ninja sieging being a big problem, but the constant fear that you can be sieged anytime, that was something.
That was something.
Yeah, it was like back then when we didn't have the window, it was a constant fear. Nightmare was a big thing back then, and you saw Nightmare people doing transports and building a stronghold.
But in the end, that also pressured people in the higher positions in the guilds to engage in stuff, even if they don't like to do something. To do stuff like this and stuff like or something like this. And I saw a huge grind down over the year. Where we didn't have the siege timers, and a lot of other people too, and that is why Starboard made the question here about the siege timers and stuff, and over 50% were for the siege timers. But I personally still against a siege timer, in my opinion. But I know that the community wants this, but I don't know if the community has anticipated other things with a siege timer or having other expectations from a siege timer than we have now, I guess.
But if I remember correctly, Henrik said at one point, you can choose a certain time where you keep or your assets are better protected, like it's your off time. You are EU guild and you're protecting your NA time because nobody's online. And you have more guards or something in that time. And when it's your prime time, it's less protected. There was something like that. He said that before TC came out. And I think that's the perfect solution because not everybody got a player base in those time zones and those time zones.
Yeah, but not everyone having big alliances that can 24/7 people are online. So that makes totally sense.
Wolfside is German only, so there's
we are also online 24/7. We are also online 24/7, so we have no problem. We have enough members, but other guilds having huge problems, I guess.
If you would choose a time, let's say a time window of let it be 6 hours. This is my main time zone, and you can be sieged in that time zone. You don't know if the enemy is coming, but this is the time zone when you can siege Koto.
Yeah,
that would be more exciting.
Yeah, that would be exciting. The other problem is when you pick a time zone that fits only you. When, for example, an attacker guild or something is in US time zone, then I don't know, they will never siege you because they will never get the numbers at that time. Never. They need to buy mercenaries or other guilds to siege you then.
I see that point, but that's also a thing. Speaking from a guild that is in NA and EU time, the NA people are fighting whole other people than I do in EU. I'm always why are those guilds such big problems for you? And they are like, whoa, that's the biggest problem we have. Yeah, because they are fighting NA guilds that I never see in my time zone.
Yeah.
So that would add up to it. So they are fighting. I mean, maybe. If a guild has a certain amount of members, if you got 100 members, you got to choose a bigger time frame. I don't know, something like that. But the thrill that is missing since you are getting, I mean, how would you imagine it from a roleplay perspective? There's someone coming in your castle saying, KotO declared siege on you. Please choose your time window. It's not very immersive.
I imagine someone on a horse and a naked guy, I don't know, riding to your keep and we are sieging you tomorrow. Do you have a time window? And then the guy on the walls is like, yeah, tomorrow between this o'clock and this o'clock, it's tea time. Yeah, we have time then.
You can't choose this time now. That's over the 24 hours. And also all the shenanigans and the tactics you can do. Odinseed did it, and we learned from it. They declared a siege, and 24 hours after this declaration, Undead Lords declared another siege. So you couldn't pack them together in one. You have to pack them apart from each other. But all those things, imagine someone has totally something against you, and he's sending a siege request every single day. With like alliance guilds and
we had that. We had one single maniac that lives in the jungle or something that declared war on Wolf's side. I guess it was 5 or 10 times or something like that. And we always thought of, okay, it's nothing, but maybe it will be something.
Yes, that's it. And also that tactic, you could declare 3 sieges and strike on the 4th time because nobody will expect it.
Yeah,
I think that adds a tactical point that's not really needed to the game.
Yeah,
it's like I'm sitting there and doing the maths. You can hear in the clip I said you can hear me talking. I'm like, okay, how many hours do I need to add? It's 14, right? Okay, 14. I do it, and you can hear my girlfriend in the background.
Yeah.
Why does it say 20 minutes now? And I'm like, I don't know. And you're sitting there with a pocket calculator, and okay, I put that siege in that time and that siege in this time.
Oh, it sounds so clunky and stupid.
It is totally clunky. And other people have the same problem. And at some point, someone will figure out how to send constant siege requests. And also, let's speak about the fact that someone sends a siege request to you, and you are siegeable for everyone in that window.
Mm.
That's also a thing. I would think, first of all, the guild that sent the siege request needs to be also attackable. It's like you're not only.
But what do you mean? So you declare a siege and you're also attackable, or what?
KotO sends a siege request to Wolf's side.
Mm-hmm.
Wolf chooses the window,
okay.
and in that window, not only Wolf's side is attackable, but also KotO.
Oh, yeah, that would be a funny engagement, I guess.
Yeah, but we are in Mortal Online. You know what will happen?
Making a second guild, of course.
We'll make a twin guild, call it Roto, and send you the siege request.
Yeah.
KotO's not attackable.
I mean, the thing is, players will always abuse everything you throw in their way. This is the normal behavior of a player of a game. So Star Wars really needs to think about everything they implement there and how can it be abused to the oblivion.
They need professional abusers to test things. Yes.
Star Wars hiring on the Star Wars SE page, professional abuser searched.
I mean, it's fascinating how
professional abuser.
Sometimes I wonder how people come up with those ideas. The thing we had when you bought a certain amount of expensive items, the price goes down. How do you come up with this idea? Who tested it?
Yeah, this is so stupid. I mean,
but people will always find a way. Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much mechanics in game where I'm thinking to myself, if you rethink that, it would be so much better. It would be so much better. I mean, just imagine KotO is a kingdom in the keep, and you're having guild territories in there. So all the small guilds that are starting in Meduli, or all the small guilds around Meduli, having a small guild territory more or less, and you have your kingdom and your territories. You have your warlords in your territory, and they are working with you, because when they are working against, they will not get so much benefits when working with you. And other kingdoms will do the same, and everyone will compete. I mean, you can't also steamroll them unless you make a second guild. But this is also the flaw of the sector system, which I also talked about. That because I brought up the sector system a few months ago, and everyone was saying, "Yeah, Star Wars, do this. It will fix everything." No, it will not fix everything. It has its own problems. But I don't know what we can make better in the whole sieging department that it makes more sense, because currently, if you ask anyone, it doesn't make sense to siege a keep. We made this out of pure boredom, and not we. Odinseed made that out, out of pure boredom, more or less.
Imagine every keep had a town stick to the keep. So let's say the Koto keep is Tindrum and the ES keep is Meduli. So every keep is dependent on a town, and you can make your own laws. You can say, you know what, necromancy is allowed in Tindrum now.
Yeah.
You know what, we have no guards.
You will laugh, I guess, because you didn't play the first game, but we had that in the first game. You could disable the guards in a town when you own the town.
And that's a super great idea, because
the main thing is Henrik planned this in the TC update 2 and TC update 3, but this never happened. And this is still I don't know, 66% of TC is still missing from the game. And this is the problem, because they need to repair the current mechanics until they implement the other mechanics, or they need to implement all the mechanics and then fix the whole shit, in my opinion.
You could lock down books like, oh no, I need heavy armor training, I got to go to Meduli. Fuck, I'm in Wolf's
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we have this discussion nearly every week when we need heavy armor books. That is why we sent it down one guy there and bought 100 heavy armor books. No shit, we have 100 heavy armor books in our stronghold.
The reason to siege the keep would be, oh my god, they are locking down this and that city. And we are dependent on this and that city. Like Odinseed is locking down the Minnow dungeon.
Yep.
And not doing it with a keep, but they would lock down something with a keep. So
then we would have a reason to go there and siege and PvP and getting this stuff.
Yeah, it's always, a lot of things are in the future, and we are all hoping for it. I'm hoping for thievery. I'm hoping for assassination since forever. We are all hoping for the weapon abilities. Every foot archer is hoping to block with the bow in the future.
The foot archer. The topic. The foot archer. Oh god. The last months, people wrote me about the foot archer stuff, and I'm like, what foot archer stuff? There are no foot archers in Mortal. Go away.
It's non-existent.
The class is not working. It's not non-existent.
There is a video on YouTube still. The first guild I was in was called Morturio. And when I was in Morturio, it was a German guild as well. And they had an Excel sheet, and you had to fulfill into the Excel sheet what you will play on release. And I played Mortal 2 days before the release, so I had 2 days of testing in the beta. And they had one thing that was called "I'm an archer on foot," and everyone was a foot archer. And there's a video on YouTube that's called like 10 CTX versus 40 Morturio, and you can see 40 foot archer trying to fight 10 usual CTX, and they are all getting slaughtered. There is no such a thing as a foot archer. But Henrik's making promises again. He's like, "Oh, you will be able to block with your bow." And you're like, oh, if I'm able to block, maybe I can be a foot archer.
And that is the same thing with the TC. Henrik promised the TC2 update and TC3 update. And these updates would bring reason to owning a keep, reason to owning a territory, reason to owning a city.
And then they change something, maybe in a good way, and maybe it's necessary, but there are things that would be so much more important. Who asked for the Beastmaster abilities? Who was it? Where's the guy? They worked on every single Beastmaster ability. I would imagine that's a lot of work. You're working with the water lizards and with the terror birds and I don't know what else. And we are all waiting for weapon abilities. We are all waiting for so many stuff that would be so essential at the moment. And I have the feeling Henrik knows what's going on in the future.
Yeah, I also think that Starboard and Henrik knows what's going on, but they don't have the capabilities, I guess. Because they're also limited. I mean, I don't know if you have seen the sales reports lately from the, because Starboard is a shares company, you know. There is public. Everything is public. And when you look at that, it's I don't know what they are doing, but I mean, we were here since 2009, so we will not go anywhere. And Henrik will not go anywhere, and I guess he knows the problem, and he will fix the problems. The thing is, it just takes time. And with the TC update 2 and 3, we are only talking about the TC problem. And the whole shit that came together on this weekend is just because we don't have the TC update 2 and 3 and the fixes of the server and the fixes of the game.
He's always like, yeah, but this and that will fix it. And he is not wrong. I remember when the mounted mages were unbeatable. You couldn't beat a mounted mage. They were unkillable. And Henrik was like, oh yeah, when we have the dismount mechanics, that will be fixed. He's right. That fixed the problem. But we still had to play with this for months. We still had mounted mages not being able to get beaten by something.
This is what frustrates players. I don't know how this is in KotO, but you guys have a very high fluctuation, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. We always have a lot of new guys. Some people stay, some people go by. It's hard to keep track of guys. It's hard to see people sticking out of the masses. Sometimes I'm like, I think I know that guy. I don't know that. We sieged everything from small houses to strongholds to keeps. We were even sieging keeps. At some point with Odinseed together, we sieged Mythic back then, the Mythic Keep and stuff. And it's always, when a lot of people come together, it's always a shit show, especially since Unreal Engine 5.
and especially since the Elementalism stuff. Because I also have seen that when everyone is drawing their weapon, the FPS are dropping a little bit. First, only for a short amount of time, and then when Elementalism does AoE damage. This is also where frame stuttering happens. Not frame dropping as well, but also stuttering happens all the time.
I see the point of Elementalism. I mean, especially now for the last siege you had a foot force that was way more powerful than our foot force. We knew that.
Yeah.
Whenever you came out, we ran away. Everybody saw that. So you were more people, you were stronger people, you had the better gear. We couldn't match you on a foot fight. So what do you do if you got no Elementalism? You do the foot archer on top of the stronger. I mean, everyone will laugh at you for your 12 damage on Ogmium. I see that something like Elementalism is needed, but not in such a big scale.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't even need Elementalism when the hail casters, the ballistas are working. When they would work on the walls, you don't need that.
If you had more things, and I hear Henrik in my head talking, we plan to put something, you can put oil on the enemy and you can throw fire on the oil.
This sounds awesome on paper, but on practice, who does this? And how does it work? And when you use this stuff, it's not viable or not? Or what do you think about this?
If it solves everything, we don't have it now. We are playing with the game now. We are not playing in 6 months. We're playing now.
Yeah.
And I see that you need to deliver content, and I see that you need to deliver new things. But I feel like they putting new things in the game, fix it later. Put it in, fix it later. Put Elementalism in, they get the entities later. Nerf Spiritism, we look at it again later. Tower shields are too OP, make it heavier, we look at it again later.
Okay, with the balance, I can understand that they don't go too hard into actually balancing out this stuff, because this is a never-ending story with the shields. I mean, we had this in Mortal Online 1 as well, and with a lot of weapons. It was patching 5 damage plus, minus 7 damage plus 3 damage, and this in spans of a few months always. And they have learned from that, and they don't do that. The thing is, they seem to I don't know, they could patch at least a little bit, I think. And this is what you mean or not?
Yeah, I mean, especially, you got a vision. When you see the tower shields being too strong, especially on Ogmius, what is the solution for it? I want tower shields to be not that powerful, but I also want to make them usable. I make them so heavy that only mages can use them. It's the exact wrong way. It's the wrong decision. We got the same for Akbond. They realized Akbond is too strong. Every melee is using it. Every melee gets Akbond on top. We make it now that intelligence is important for it. Why not mental offense? You got mental training, you got mental offense. The tooltip of mental offense says it makes spells more effective. You already got the thing. Everyone is complaining about Earthquake, because every melee gets 100 ecumenical spells, so he can dismount people. Why not make it reach a certain amount of damage, like every other weapon? Like the lance needs to reach a certain amount of damage. The hammer needs to reach a certain amount of damage to dismount. Why not make it the same rule?
Yeah, why just not make it? And I guess this is the same problem that we have with the TC. Why are they not focusing on fixing the stuff they have instead of implementing new shit?
Look at the new decaying of buildings. They made the buildings decay in another way now, so you can still reach the chests.
Yep.
Great thought, great change. Okay, but what happens now is your building gets destroyed, and you have holes in your stronghold, and people can jump in. So what do people to prevent it? They build 2 layers of walls behind the actual wall.
Well, of course.
So the stronghold, the stronghold gets destroyed. You have a big hole, but there's a wall behind that hole. Or people building furniture so that only a little sheetrock can run under it. The trap houses and stuff. People using furniture. People using 10-second lockout timer in houses they don't even know.
Yeah, and it's Starboard not often thinking about players totally abusing anything they can. So yes, you're right. They need professional abusers to actually test this shit.
And the problem is, if they got the feedback, I would think that they listen to us, but they take so long to fix things. They take so long that you already know if you occur a problem, you're playing at least 6 months with this problem now. It's worth worrying the class that's strong now because you have it at least for 6 months. And same with the keep. After this, everybody heard the story. Everybody saw the clips. Nobody will siege a keep until things change now.
Yeah. I mean, everyone will look at how practical this actually is, and how. I mean, I don't have the total data sheets because Odinseed is not giving me this. I don't know, but the whole resources we used.
You said something in your video,
This amount, the effort of the people, the effort of the preparation, all this shit. And when someone else, some other guild, some other alliances, I mean, there are not many, but you know what I mean. If other people looking at this, they are not encouraged to siege anything. They see this and saying, okay, no.
And if this was an actual fight and we wouldn't have to deal with bugs and performance issues, you would have at least be able to tell which side would win. Maybe you would have won without the issues. Maybe you would have lost without the issues. We can tell. It takes a lot of resources from your computer. Running shadow play while playing takes even more resources from your computer. So that's maybe the difference between 5-second freeze and a 10-second freeze. I don't know. In a big fight, that's the difference between life and death. So some people don't even have shadow play. How can they prove? If another person accepted the siege that cannot create a clip and prove that they did it right, you're destroying a whole guild just because it doesn't work like it should.
Yeah, this is so, I don't know. Yeah, I totally get it that the GMs need proof to do shit. I get it, but putting more resources into GMs is I don't know, it's so.
But I feel it has become a usual thing for the gamers that they always like, oh, do you have a clip of that?
Yeah, it's so bad. I mean, it's so bad. No, I don't even have words for this because everyone needs to run shadow play to prove that the bugs in the game are there and that they have lost stuff to the bugs of the game that are obviously there since a long time. And this is so brain dead.
And sometimes the solutions are not practical at all. Like telling you guys, oh, if you still see the wall, just relock. Yeah, okay, my 300 army will relock real quick while the enemy is firing at us, so I don't see the wall anymore. And like you said in your video, you have to play around mechanics. You already know bugs that can appear. You already know mechanics that don't work, so you have to play around it.
Yeah.
You take the whole Wolfside guild Odinseed, so you don't have that issue. You kill a guy that is immortal somehow, you know that Corrupt will kill him, so you already cast a Corrupt to go around this invincible bug. You're already making sure you're doing everything you can to work around existing bugs, you know.
Yeah. And the main problem I have with this, these are all veteran, not all, a lot of veteran players. We also had in the Siege a few Mortal Online 1 players there. And even they have said that. And these are hardcore ass veterans knowing every shit bug since the beginning. I don't know.
And from my experience, Mortal Online 1 players are very patient. They had to be very patient.
Yeah. I mean, the guys that played that for years, you need to be to be patient, to be resilient against all the bugs and all the shit. And I'm very resilient against all this stuff, but I'm not resilient against, for example, and when hundreds of players saying that this system is not working, it's broken. Please, Starboard, make a system that is working, fixed, and have a purpose for PvP.
Yeah, and when the first issue you run across is even accepting the siege, that's the first thing that bugs out. It's not looking good. It's not looking good at all.
And I mean, even when Mortal Online 1 veterans are in the Odinseed, a few of them participate in the siege, and even then we calculated in the bugs that could happen. We calculated in all the experience all these hundreds of people have about sieges. This all came together, and it wasn't enough. So I'm just having one question for Star Wars is also, what is enough? Because a lot of people are so fed up with this. You can't even imagine. They are so fed up with this. There's no reason to owning a keep. And then, even when you want a keep out of pure boredom, it's bugged and shit to get it. And it costs effort, and it brings you nothing.
And half of the time you're fighting over the keep, you're not even fighting the enemy, you're fighting game mechanics, bugs, performance issues. You're pretty much fighting the game at this point.
Wonderful. I guess Henry could write on Steam like Mortal Online, fight the mechanics, sandbox. I don't know. Fight the mechanics.
Maybe that's considered PvE as well.
Oh yeah, right. So for everyone who's claiming Mortal doesn't have PvE, fight the sieging mechanics. You can't get more PvE than that. So do you have anything else, or I don't know?
Yeah, in the end, the pure action, when you had any action that was playable, it was very enjoyable. It was the first content for like months for the community. I really enjoyed it. I think
we can also talk about the positive stuff. Good idea.
Yeah, I mean, there are some upsides to the whole thing. So people came together. We had a lot of people that just subbed again for the big battle.
Yeah, we also had a few of them, yeah.
And we have a lot of people that are playing right now because I think they know what they missed now.
So they missed three FPS fights and taking damage 20 seconds later, and wasting their Ogmium armor while being crashed on a fight, and then afterwards getting insulted as a bad fighter because you're having 3 FPS on a massive siege. Yeah, I see that.
That's the sad thing about it. We are all playing this game because we see the potential. We always call it Henrik's vision, and we share that vision. I would not play this game if I would have the feeling like it doesn't lead to anything or if it's doomed to something. Yeah. And look at all the games that came out in the last years. Look at New World. Where's New World now?
That was not. Don't get me wrong. I personally think this is not the game for me.
If you look at Thrones at Liberty, some people tell it's slowly going down. So Mortal Online is still the game. And I have so many people coming back to the game and they're like, I looked what's on the market and there is nothing like Mortal Online. Yeah. So we are still playing it. We are still customers and we still hope it gets better. But we are also getting a lot of frustration, and that adds up to another frustration. And as I said, nobody will siege in the near future because we know what to expect if you siege.
I mean, I can't speak for Odinseed, of course, but I can only speak for the Wolf side guys. And we are so fed up with the whole system. We don't participate in any of this shit again until this stuff is fixed.
In the end, everybody loses. We lost stuff. You guys lost stuff. Everybody loses.
Yeah.
And everyone gets frustrated. Everyone is fighting lags, everyone is fighting issues, everyone is fighting bugs.
Yeah, and the other 50% where all the people had positive vibes, like, oh yeah, this massive fight, all came together. This was awesome. This was an awesome mechanic. People had that the whole day was positive until half of the siege, where the bugs were unbearable hardcore.
And you can't even advertise it. You can't even clip
you can't even advertise it, because if you advertise it, the new guy is installing the game and running into 10 bugs instantly in 1 hour.
Yeah, and as you said, you're posting a video where you see Mangonels in front of a wall, and the guy that's not playing the game is like, that looks like shit. Why are you firing a Mangonel 1 meter away from a wall?
Yeah. Yeah, and the second thing most of the people ask is, are there trebuchets are there battery rams or something like that? And the general response is no. They are just these mangonels. There are also ballistas, but no one uses that. Why is no one using that? Yeah, that is exactly the question.
Because they are absolutely useless.
Exactly.
And the current mechanic keeps you from using them. I think Henrik would love them to be like a defensive weapon, like we said before. But if you have 50 men carrying arrows from the ground to the 3rd floor constantly, you don't use them.
Yeah.
What do you do with the 50 men instead? You let them do elementalism.
Hailcasters on the roof with ammunition beside the Hailcaster would be awesome. Sorry. I called it Hailcaster all the time because in the first game it was called Hailcaster, but Ballista. If you have the ammunition right beside the Ballista all the time, would be awesome. Then you could actively defend better against the siege. But Starboard needs also to implement more stuff to siege. To make it easier to siege that thing, even with the ballistas and stuff, and then it's a little bit more encouraging and stuff. And
the current mechanics are boring.
Yeah, it's so boring when you think of the supply tent we talked earlier about building it up. It's so boring for a guy to 7 hours on building a supply tent and watching streams of other guys fighting, or I don't know, having other stuff to do.
Standing in line of boulders, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean at some point at a siege, a lot of people also considering having second characters there. A few people also having second characters there. I was also there with a second character, and like you have said, you're building up the siege camp AFK. So I used my second character, standing there, building the AFK, and playing actively with my other character. And a lot of people are also doing this. And I don't know if that is intended game mechanic, but I think this is stupid.
Yeah, and you lock the 3rd character to repair something else or to carry the boulders. So maybe we should all have 5 accounts.
Yeah. Then it would work, I guess.
I think Starboard should ask themselves the question: what do you want to do during a siege? Do you want to stand there and repair something? Do you want to carry boulders, or do you want to take part in a fight?
Yeah.
What do you want to show?
Or do you want to destroy some structures? Because this is also funny.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, even if you look at the sieging itself, you blew a hole in a wall, you blew a hole in a wall, and you blew a hole in a tower. It's not that exciting, right? The keeps looks so massive. It looks so invulnerable. Then you make a hole in a wall, you make a hole in a wall, and you see to keep. You don't have that many tools to fight with. You have elementalism. Foot archers doesn't exist. You don't use the ballistas. You only have elementalism and
to actively defend in a siege, more or less, yeah.
Yeah, maybe you can shoot back with the Mangonel, but it's very clunky. We tried it, we did it, but it's not really worth it.
Yeah, and I mean the supply line stuff. I mean, you built it up the supply lines a few times, I guess.
Yeah, we did it twice.
Secretly, because we had a 20-minute God mode timer, and we were all like, okay, 0% on this structure, giving 20% God mode. Thanks, Starboard, for fucking nothing.
First of all, we had to find out where to buy those. Yeah. That's another thing. Let that sink in. So you have to go to Tindrum to get that thing, so you can rebuild it at your keep. Some things are so slow and so clunky in the game.
Okay. This sounds also like some effort. So what exactly do you guys did? I don't know.
So I don't know what ES perspective is, because as I said, they were not on the battlefield. They were inside. I would think they were repairing a lot of things, but I heard them trying to rebuild the supply camp. That's what I heard. Okay, we are trying to rebuild the supply camp. Yeah. And the first message we got was, okay, they caught us building it. So that was the first attempt. And then they said, we are trying it again. And then the message was, they didn't catch us this time.
Yeah.
That was when the defense went up. Really up, like 92%.
Yeah, it was so strange, because I don't know. It was also a little bit of chaos there, but we didn't knew about the second supply line. So we were completely surprised about the 0%, and then we found it. I guess it was, or not. I were busy with other stuff, so I don't know if we found it then in the middle. I don't know.
It was during the end when you guys realized, and then it was already too late. You had like half an hour left and 92% defense, so there was no point.
This was it. Okay, okay. Yeah, this. Oh, man.
And I have a theory about the Game Master in Help Chat. That was Henrik himself.
Really?
I don't think. I mean, do you think that just some random new Game Master with a name you never saw before is like, you didn't watch the supply camps, did you?
Yeah, that's a good point.
My theory is that was Henrik. He renamed himself.
Maybe it was Henrik. Yeah, maybe it was Henrik. I don't know, but it would fit. I guess.
Watch us? Did you watch us? But I would also love to have his opinion. What does Henrik think, or how happy is Henrik with this siege?
Yeah. I a lot of people asked me this and wrote me this, and I wrote Henrik and I asked if he could, I don't know, say something to this, and he said that they are working on. So yeah, I don't know. And I mean, this is completely okay. I mean, someone need to figure out first what they want to do. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is something that every CEO ever tells you from every company, that they are working on problems. So
yeah, first of all, he's a businessman, so the first
I'm completely okay with that answer. It's completely okay. So I don't know what Henrik will do, but we are still waiting for an official statement, I guess.
Yeah, maybe next time when he streams, we will ask him. For example, we heard so many things. We heard Kuthara died in real life. Kuthara is banned from the game. Yeah. Kuthara is in prison. I don't know. Maybe Kuthara gets hunted.
Last time Kuthara is banned, I'm like, what the fuck again? And then I more or less wrote Kuthara and like, Kuthara, I don't know if that is a hoax, but are you banned?
And if he responds, you just ask him, okay, you're not banned, but are you dead?
Yeah, this not, but it was close to are you dead?
How is the internet in prison?
How is the internet in prison? This is awesome. I mean, this it's so strange, but I'm often writing people like this. When I'm hearing shit about people, I'm often writing them directly like this, and I'm asking, is that true?
We have a little clip of the reaction after that GM wrote the sentence with the supply camp, and everyone was like, KotO GM, Coalition GM. We have a little clip of it when the help chat escalated. But it's fun. You always need to have some enemy, some bad guy. For some people, we are the bad guys. For some people, we are the good guys. We have our enemies. But I think the higher you go into the ranks, the more reasonable people are. So in the ranks that matter, you meet people that are cool and they are playing the game. They want to have a good time. And even the guild hoppers, yesterday in Wolfside talking shit about KotO, today in KotO talking shit about Wolfside. It's always the same.
What guild hoppers? Do we have a Wolfside KotO guild hopper? Oh, that was a good question.
I don't know. Do we?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm asking you. I don't know. We also continued a few minutes with off-topic talk, but the editing of this was a nightmare anyway. So yeah, I guess all the points of territory is in there. So yeah, you can of course judge yourself if territorial control is good, how it is in the game or not, or if you want it changed or not. So please leave a like and subscribe, would be really awesome, by the way. And of course, share this video with all the people that were in the siege, would be awesome. Or were at least interested in territorial control, and that we maybe have some useful territorial control in the future, and maybe a kingdom system, and maybe a Game of Thrones like experience, and maybe it's awesome political, and maybe it's awesome for guilds and kingdoms and people and stuff. But sadly, we are currently with the system that we have now, and yeah, long story short, yeah, it's how it is. So where's the end card? And special thanks to all the supporters. Carmel, Paladin Life, Lucario, Ronus, Paternax, Cologne Bulldog, and all the others, of course. And don't spread rumors hard. Better make party hard. Party hard is much better. And yeah, see you all next time. Goodbye.